Kyren Williams is reporting to camp and ready to rumble. McLaurin is not. You have two players, high-octane offenses, big-time fantasy football players. One is in, one is out. Kyren was reportedly at the very beginning of the day, one of the first things talked about in terms of camp holdouts, hold-ins news was that Kyren Williams was wanting a new contract, that he may possibly sit out. Boom. Minutes later, news broke. Kyren Williams is not going to sit out, and he's going to still try and negotiate this contract. Here's a report here from NBC Sports that Kyren Williams said he will practice during training camp without a formalized contract extension. But let me tell you this. We know it's on the horizon. I have it on good authority that this man is inches away from getting a deal. They're pretty close. Remember that he's wanting to wet his beak one more time. That's all it is. He needs to make sure he's getting the best deal he can. This is probably the last big contract he could ever get. And he's never even got a big contract. So this is literally the first big money he's ever going to touch. There's no way he walks into the season without this contract. Mark my words, he will have a contract in 2025 before week one kicks off. There's almost zero chance that Kyren would want to bank on himself at this risk. It's not that he doesn't believe he can't, in his mind, earn another contract. Maybe he decides to go shorter, 2 to 3 years, just to make sure he gives himself that opportunity to get another bag in his mind. I don't know that he will. This is a crazy league where running back values are really low, especially when you hit a certain age. But this is the first money and really only money he's going to touch. So he needs to grab it. There's no way you take this into the year, get injured, and miss the bag. He will get it. He will get it. Once he gets it, his value in fantasy football will increase. It will climb. He'll go from 3.4, 3.5, 3.8. He's all over the map right now. Kyren sometimes can be had at that turn. We looked at his ADP last night on Underdog. And Underdog and non-best ball are a little bit different. I'd say the average ADP is about 3.4 across all formats. But this is a guy that is going to be probably going to the 3.1, the 2-3 turn. 24-25, you got to take Kyren. In a real grandma league, an Aunt Edna league, or a water cooler league, or the work league, or the office league, you're going to probably have to get him in the middle of the second round because people won't know better. They won't know better so much that they draft Kyren where he should go instead of where the public is pushing him down. The masses are shoving Kyren down in disrespectful fashion. The Aunt Edna League is the one where he's valued properly because they never adjusted. It's kind of frustrating. It's like when you go on ESPN, all the ADPs are all over the place here. You're like, damn, this is like taking candy from a baby. But the one player you want for some reason is ranked right where he shouldn't be. That's what we're talking about here. We got Aiyuk news, more McLaurin news. We'll talk more about Kyren. We've got Matthew Stafford news. We've got Chris Godwin news. We've got a ton of news. The Fantasy Football Show begins now. Overcome with a $20 hauler to kick off the show. Appreciate you, Overcome. I'll read that 1 second. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Kyren is going to be a monster. And you know, there's still a lot of doubters out there. It's really wild, you know. In the comments of some of my videos, especially on Instagram, you get those wild willies that get in there and they're like, hey, this is going to be one of those sharing situations. You better get Jarquez Hunter. Yeah, we know Jarquez Hunter is one of the most valuable handcuffs in fantasy, not because he's capable of taking Kyren's job. It's because he's amazing, but Kyren's even more amazing. But the system that they both reside in, the Sean McVay system, is a system of glory. And it's a glory-producing system, a kingmaker, if you will. A 12 touchdown in 12 games, his first go at it. Then Kyren last year with stacked boxes, no receivers on the field. Defenses knew what was coming. He still rushes for 14 touchdowns on the ground. What do you think he's going to do this year with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, both healthy, stretching the field? We do worry about Stafford because he's sitting out with a back injury. We'll get to that in a minute, but This is probably just more a maintenance thing with his age. They're kind of bringing him along slowly. He's always going to be an injury risk, so we have to look at that. But Kyren Williams is going to the promised land. The question is, are you going with him? Are you going to climb on his back and let him take you to the promised land? Or are you going to be this doubting Donnie? Or are you going to listen to a doubting Donnie feeding you a bunch of horse crap advice? Kyren Williams wasn't explosive last year. According to my data, my Excel sheet. Where's my Excel sheet? Where is it? I think I have it here somewhere. According to my Excel sheet, here it is. My Excel sheet says that according to the explosive data, Kyren Williams is not explosive. And that's funny. He scored 14. He's scoring a lot of touchdowns, Steve. Are we sure this data is correct? Are we sure we're getting the right information?
Take a big lap. We don't need your hating mask coming back now. Take a big lap. Take one and you don't come back.
If you listen to somebody that tells you Kyren's not explosive, I can't help you. If you listen to somebody that tells you Kyren Williams is a player that is in a committee, or he's risky, or he's not going to stay healthy, or he's not going to get it done, I can't help you. In no offense, don't take this the wrong way, but I don't really want to help you. A, I want to keep stealing Kyren Williams away. B, I'm not interested in helping people that can't decipher between the bad and the good when we're screaming it on this channel on the daily. That's your fault for not being here every single day. And if you're swinging back in, you've been taking a hiatus, and Smitty, I take off January through July 21st. Well, we'll give you a pass on that. August 1, there's no excuses for why you haven't been here. Okay, July 22nd, sure. You know, you're going to be dragging your feet, Donnie, that's fine. But we're here 365, 24/7, putting in the work. So when someone calls into the phone line and goes, Smitty, you like Kyren this year? It's maddening. It's maddening. Or, hey, Smitty, do you really think that Deebo is going to be good this year? It is maddening that we have people that literally don't even know what's going on in this show, and they claim to be big, watchers of this channel. Kyren's going to the promised land. It's up to you if you want to get on board. It's up to you if you want to keep being a doubting Donnie, and it's up to you if you. How do you like to be served your bittersweet revenge? Do you like serving it on a cold plate of I don't know, we'll call it Joe Mixon, or do you like a hot tray of Kyren Williams? Because I like serving my revenge on a plate of Kyren Williams. Because Kyren's going to be smoking hot, walking into 2025, scoring touchdowns on the regular, gaps open this wide instead of this wide, room to run and navigate all over the field, unlike last year when defenses said, "Ew, Cooper Kupp's old and not good. Oh, Puka Nacua is injured. Oh, there's nobody here but Kyren. Well, let's just stack and crowd this box right here." And Kyren still scores double-digit touchdowns. What do you think the outcome's going to be for this explosive running back? How about this? You non-explosive Neds out there? How about this? Ready? Clip this. Kyren Williams is not only explosive, he's one of the most explosive running backs in the National Football League. You don't know what you're talking about. Kyren Williams isn't explosive. Stop repeating that. Why does anybody repeat that? Not the majority of you, but why would anybody on earth repeat that nonsense? That Kyren Williams is not explosive? Get out of here with that. That's about as off base as Jerry Jones press conferences. You know, it's insane. It's just insane. This guy ripped off 5 yards per carry, Kyren Williams, and 12 touchdowns in 12 games. And last year, if you judge his situation, if you judge last year, Kyren Williams getting 4.2, 4.3 a carry with stacked boxes, 8-man fronts, no wide receivers to stretch the field. I can't help you. If you judge a man off that and you don't just even have the patience to go back and watch his 5.0 yard per carry runs, or just watch his 4.2, 4.3 yard per carry runs last year. Go watch some film. Go pull up the old YouTube videos on Kyren 2024 and take a gander at how many brick walls he's hitting. And consider that the offensive line, one of the very best in the league, the one that was supposed to be number one last year, the most heavy offensive line in football last year, got injured really early on. And Kyren Williams had to endure. You have one of the best offensive lines in football. You have a healthy team across the board. You have a Davante Adams addition. And you're worried about explosiveness? You're judging this man? I feel very bad for you if you are. I feel very bad for you if you're still repeating like Roger this nonsense, this garbage that you keep throwing out there. Now, Kyren Williams, this is one of the things that he said. This is what a class act this guy is. Regarding reporting to training camp in the midst of a contract discussion, Kyren Williams indicated that there's no desire to hold out. For me, quote, for me, there was no decision, end quote. What a class act. Not saying Terry McLaurin isn't, but this is a class act, and this is why the organization is going to sign him. This is the only concern we have in LAR, and it's not just from this perspective. He's an older player, so Matthew Stafford will begin training off on the side as he deals with some back soreness. Coach Sean McVay told reporters McVay does not expect this to be a major issue. I don't either, but this is a older player that's capable of broke his back. He's got so many injuries. And so if he was to go down, we'd probably see more of the same, just to prepare you if you want to know the answer. If Stafford went down, we see a lot more of the same of last year. Stack boxes. You'd still have a lot more movement on the field. Problem is, Jimmy Garoppolo's in LAR. I hope to God he would have come in as the backup. You remember when Jimmy Garoppolo was throwing hospital balls to Davante Adams and he took his helmet off and smashed it on the sideline and says, "He's gonna get me killed." And he's like, I'm done. Jimmy Garoppolo, Adams said, "You take him out of the lineup or I'm done. I'm done." And this Jimmy Garoppolo is one of the worst quarterbacks in the National Football League. And how dare the Rams bring him in? It's maddening. But if something did happen to Stafford, you would see more of the same as last year, where there's 8-man fronts and Kyren's still getting it done. He's going to get it done less effective and less efficient, but that's to be expected. When you're still getting 4.3, 4.2 yards per carry and double-digit touchdowns, I mean, goodness gracious. Like, what? That's your worst-case scenario? If Stafford gets hurt, Kyren's going to get 4.2, 4.3 carry and get you double-digit touchdowns. If Stafford doesn't get hurt, he's scoring you 14 or 15 touchdowns. 14 or 15 touchdowns. You know? Crazy. Voice of reason, you lost all credibility because you never even called in on this situation. You talk so much trash about Deebo and you have nothing to back it up. And the fact that you talk trash, said you call in, never called in, you lost all authority at all whatsoever, and nobody cares about what you're saying about Deebo Samuel. Nobody. Everybody in here is just going to point at that and go, "Look at this guy. Look at this lost Lonnie talking about Deebo Samuel as if he's bitter and Deebo messed up his fantasy season last year, or he's a Niner fan and he's really, really mad at Deebo." Probably a bit of both, but nobody's looking at your comment and cares at all about your Deebo Samuel take. Nobody, bro. Absolutely nobody. No, we're not talking Lamar, Scott. Talk Lamar and you'll go in timeout. We had enough of that. You guys were talking Lamar in the chat and overwhelming the chat on a total off-topic discussion yesterday. That's done. Keep it on point. So, Kyren Williams will be fine. No holdout, and his contract is coming, and so will his increased ADP. I don't know how high he'll climb, probably 3.1 at the highest, but we'll see. Matthew Stafford dealing with that injury. Here's the Terry McLaurin news. Look, this is not good right now, and this is a team in the Washington Commanders that can absolutely win a Super Bowl. Not only can they win a Super Bowl, but they can be a Super Bowl appearing team or a conference championship winning team from the jump, okay? This is a team that even without McLaurin, they could show in the Super Bowl. They could win a conference championship. They could be one of the top 4 or 5 teams, period. And if they get Terry McLaurin, they're dangerous. They're an absolute dangerous team. And they're one of the most dangerous teams in the National Football League. We got people dialing in. Phone lines aren't open. If that's you, voice of reason, and I doubt it is. But even if it's, hang tight. I'm in the middle of a monologue. And not to mention, we don't even care what you think anymore. If that is you, call it. Hang tight. And if that's Gump, you're not calling in for the rest of the show. This Scary Terry's pushing the limits of this thing, as is the Washington Commanders. Commanders General Manager Adam Peters, who is a mastermind, by the way, said that the team would do whatever we can to extend wide receiver Terry McLaurin. And this is a situation where I believe there's probably some interference between the agent and the team. And there's probably a lot of pushback that has divided these two sides a little bit. That's the complexities of an agent and where the agent can kind of, in a sense, mess things up and mess up the tone of these things. And that's why sometimes even Jerry's like, I want to negotiate outside the agent, because the agent can sometimes ask for the world and tell the player, sit back, I have this. It's going to get uncomfortable for a while. So it's weird. It's weird on both sides, and there's blame to go around. Scary Terry's 100% a key component of the formula that can get the Commanders into a Super Bowl appearance. If you don't think the Commanders are a Super Bowl appearing team, because you're like your Eagles. The Eagles are going to do it, Smitty. Like, let go of your bias and have an open mind for a second that not everything revolves around your team. There are multiple teams that can do it live. So Terry McLaurin is likely to be a Commander in 2025. I don't think that there's any benefit whatsoever for the Commanders to let him go to another team via trade. There's just no compensation that would be worth it. And what I always tell you guys is, in order to have a trade, you have to have a divide between team and player. So team and player have to be divided. There has to be a rift that is almost unfixable, or it's so big that it opens the door to component number 2. These two components are needed for a trade when it involves a player that should not be traded. The team shouldn't trade him. The player shouldn't want to go. The two parties are a perfect fit. There's a Super Bowl on the line. There's a conference championship on the line. There's a massively, amazing season underway if the two parties stay together. So having Terry McLaurin on this roster is the only thing that makes sense. So we're going to talk about that type of situation. You need two components for that type of trade to still occur. One is there's a divide between player and team that is starting to fester and manifest right now. Is it fixable? Absolutely. Can this be repaired? 100%. Money can talk. Terry McLaurin gets the deal he wants and the team's happy giving it, then this all goes away with the snap of a finger and the stroke of a pen. But if this gets big enough, and it's starting to, you start getting those offers. And once you have an offer that is too good to pass up, an offer that the Commanders cannot refuse, then they go back to this situation and they say, can we fix this? No. Well, this offer is better at the end of the day than what we're looking at. That's when the trade ends up getting executed. The problem is, can a team actually offer something that the Commanders can't refuse? I don't know that they can, because even if you offered, let's say, a second rounder, which is the most I could even imagine a team overpaying, and it would be an overpay, he's 30 years old, for Terry McLaurin, how does the second rounder help the Commanders win a Super Bowl in 2025, which they're clearly capable of doing? It doesn't. So at the end of the day, what I'm going to tell you this is the blunt truth. If I'm the Commanders, and let's say he's not playing ball, let's say you're offering a pretty substantial amount of money for a 30-year-old, and it's not the Commanders' fault that Terry McLaurin's 30 years old. I know Terry's mad about it. He's been cast aside, no quarterback for years, and when he finally gets his quarterback, he's got borrowed time now, and that sucks for Terry McLaurin. He's got 1 to 2. I don't doubt he has 3 years. It's 1 to 2 years left. It might just be one elite year and then a half a year. Like 1.5 to 2 years left of elite football. You might think, oh, he's different. My team, Smitty, my Commanders, he's going to be good till 37 years old. That's not the way it works. That's not the way the human body is wired to function at this high level that these players play at. Terry McLaurin's got his 30-year-old season. Ziggy, how old is Terry McLaurin?
Terry McLaurin is 29 years old and was born on September 15th, 1990.
So yeah, he's turning 30 right here at the start of the season. So he plays in 2025 at the age of 30. And then he's going to maybe, if he's lucky, play the age of 31 at an elite level. And then it's probably downhill from there. He's got to come to terms with that. The team's got to come to terms that he's worth probably $34 million per year, but not at a guarantee that Garrett Wilson got, which is $90 million. You can't go near that. It's all about the guaranteed money. He deserves $33 to $34 million per year at a guarantee that's probably only a year and a half of that guaranteed. Like, you can't give him more than $58 million guaranteed. And I mean, they could, but that's what it's coming down to. And if he thinks he's getting the $90 million guaranteed that Garrett Wilson got, this is on Terry McLaurin right now. So we don't have all the details, but here's the blunt truth. I was getting to that, then I sidetracked myself. The honest, blunt truth is this. If this was me and we offered him something reasonable, you just wait. You can have good open communication. I think that's what the Commanders have not done a good job of not talking to him for a month straight, what Terry said. We've had other reports that it's been weeks, but Terry McLaurin said about a month. He hasn't talked to them. But is that his agent? His agent saying, I'll handle this, and the agent playing hardball, the agent hanging up the phone, the agent being, a douche on the phone and whatever. Is that what's happening? Is that we haven't heard from them in a month through the agent, or I haven't heard from them on the contract because they don't talk to him directly about it? It's so many different details that aren't known that make this one of those situations where people kind of talk out of turn and you don't have all the details. But if this is me and I'm the Commanders, let him hold in. He'll eventually hold in. He can't afford it. He'll be getting charged roughly $50,000, $50K per day. The team could choose to fine him $50K per day that he waits. He's wanting money. He can't afford to wait $50K per day. There's only so much he can do here. There's only so much latitude he has. He'll have to report. He'll hold in. It's certainly going to happen tomorrow or the next day. It's a one-day thing, really, in my mind. I totally see this being a one-day thing. Terry McLaurin shows up, and he has to. And you let him hold in as long as he wants if he's asking for crazy money. Why? Because at the end of the day, even though a player has more of a risk of getting hurt by holding in or holding out, there's risk of injury. The risk of injury is far less than the risk of having no Terry McLaurin at all and trying to get to the promised land. So no Terry McLaurin is the worst of all the scenarios. Having Terry McLaurin hold in or out and have injury risk is definitely the second most risky situation versus signing the contract and being there, healthy and all that. But this is not an option. If this is all you get and he misses 4 games because he holds out or something, so be it. But the bottom line is he's not going to hold out. He'll hold in a little bit, but this guy wants to play ball. I think it gets done. I think at the end of the day, it gets done. This team needs him. He needs the team. Bottom line, if it gets ugly and it gets drawn out, we'll address it as it comes, but I think he's going to sign an extension. This right here, Zach Moss placed on the NFI list. I'm not trying to celebrate injury of any kind, but this is just more of a celebration of Chase Brown and the workload that is almost guaranteed to this man. Look, I love Chase Brown. Chase Brown is going to the absolute moon. If you aren't on board this train, I don't know what train you like to board. I just have no idea what it is that you're into. Are you into trains at all? Because if you don't like trains, I get it. But this is a train you want to be on. Chase Brown, it's a train we conducted last year. And nobody conducted a train like we did. This Chase Brown train has been on the tracks since like January of last year. And all I can tell you is if you're not in now, you're out. You're out. You're out. A lot of people ask me to perform miracles on this channel. Smitty, make something amazing happen. And I say, you know what? I can. Watch this. Watch this right here. I'll take this and boom. And then out of nowhere, zoom in on this bad boy. Zoom in on that.
They laughed when we said he was about to be an unstoppable force for all to see. With Chase Brown, get up, get down. With Chase Brown, get up, get
Chase Brown
down.
going to the moon. Either get on board, don't get on board. I really, again, care, but at the end of the day, we only have so many seats anyway. Still, the Athletic is reporting that it's still possible for Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson to win the team's #1 job. I could have told you that. Danny Dimes is trash. But I do believe Danny Dimes will win the job, unfortunately, and that's horrible for JT. And that's why JT is one of the bigger voids in the second round. Diggs was cleared fully to participate. This is kind of impressive, to be honest. I think Diggs has got some upside, but he's also got some increased injury risk, if you ask me, given how fast he's moved through this. You might say that that's crazy. No, it's not. Because there's a lot of, with the ACL, there's a lot of, parts of that process that he sped through too quickly. And the graft that the ACL, when it's in there and it has to heal and hold, he was definitely pulling on that before it was 100%. That just puts it at more of a potential failure, point later. I'm just telling you that you can accept that or not. He might escape it, because he's going to need to get hit or cut wrong for that ACL to re-tear. But he certainly didn't, I believe, based on everything I've covered for 20 plus years, feel like he was fully ready to be doing the things he was doing as fast as he was doing them. Same thing that Cam Akers, when Cam Akers rushed back and played the same year he tore his Achilles tendon. I said, I don't care if he made it through the game. I don't care if he looked okay or didn't look okay. And people are like, he came out unscathed, Smitty, he's fine. No, he wasn't. He definitely did damage to it, and then it ended up showing up later, and then he tore his Achilles tendon again. But Diggs is very impressive, and I think that this is, he's an intriguing fantasy football option if he falls to the right value. But I'm not really super high on drafting bunches of shares of Stephon Diggs. I like Kyle Williams. I think Henderson's going to be a monster catching the ball. James Cook reports to Bills training camp. A lot of big, tough talk from James Cook wanting to get paid like a top 5 running back, and then he realized that Ray Davis could take his job like that, and still might. So, big regression season coming for James Cook, but at least, maybe he holds in, though. He reports, but maybe he gets a little hammy, in a couple days. A lot of these guys that are going to maybe hold out, they might still report and then hold in later. They don't have to hold in from day one. They might say, okay, I'm going to, good faith, be out here, and then if I don't see movement, I'm going to have tightness in my quad. And then they start holding in. McVay said Matthew Stafford is dealing with the soreness in his back. We talked about that. Here's some. God, this is a disaster. Why people even take Brandon Aiyuk is beyond me. Brandon Aiyuk knee is not anywhere close to having concrete timeline of a return to the field. There was this report he was going to maybe be ready for week 1. If he does that, he's getting hurt. Okay, so if he's ready for week 1, it's not good news. He's actually not ready for week 1, and they're rushing him. He's rushing himself. He's afraid his job won't be there. The worst thing he could do is be super fearful of the first month of the season and his job getting taken from him because he's going to go out there and get injured again. Aiyuk he's not a player I even want. I don't even want Aiyuk. His head wasn't in the right place before he tore his ACL and messed his knee up. And he's going to need at least a year of playing on it as the third wide receiver on a roster where he's not even the third option. George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey are higher target share options than Aiyuk, who's not even the second wide receiver. So what is he, the 6th or 7th weapon on the team at this point? I don't want him at all. I would trade him as quickly as I could in any sort of dynasty format. I want nothing to do with Aiyuk moving forward. He's cooked. Juwan Jennings, this is interesting. We'll see how this plays out. 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan said Juwan Jennings has not formally requested a trade. That could happen if they don't give him the money that he wants. And the Niners, they're always dealing with something. And then we talked about this yesterday. There's so much concern and worry about the Bucs being down the best offensive tackle in football, who is reportedly going to be back sooner versus later. And we told you when this happened, when Wirfs was talked about as being a potential player that could miss 4 games going on PUP, what did your boy tell you? It's way too early. We're so many weeks away from week 1 to be acting like we know what's going to happen with these PUP calls. And there's now a more likely chance he doesn't miss 4 games than misses 4 games. Does that mean 3? Does that mean 2? Does that mean 1? We don't know. But to go on PUP is fine as long as you get taken off right before the season begins. If you're left on it like Aiyuk will be, then you have to miss the first 4 weeks of the year, and it's a way for the team to roster another body, and it's a way of balancing the roster in a sense. But they're not going to probably put him on PUP unless he has some sort of setback, or he's going really fast in the rehab now, and then he slows down and he goes at a really slow, normal pace. And going slow in a rehab process or hitting bumps in the road is not abnormal. So we'll see where it goes, but use the downtick in Bucky's value, who's climbing down to about the 20, 21, 22, 2019 territory. Bucky deserves to be a top 12 overall pick. So fantastic news for all in that situation. I think that's all the news that we have right now on all of these camp situations. So I'm going to put the news over here in the corner. Phone lines will be open. Dial in to the phone line.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
All right, dial in if you have anything you'd like to discuss regarding JD5, regarding Deebo Samuel. If you want to spit out your nonsense about Deebo, go right ahead. Would love to hear your call. We've got more news that's breaking as we're speaking. I'll start reading it off as it comes in. Let's see here. Keep it coming if you guys see anything in the news right now. I'm refreshing as we go. Some of you are saying Najee news. I'll keep looking for Najee news. Phone lines are open. Dial in. This guy's going to the moon. McLaurin. Let me just say this too. Even if McLaurin does report, which I do think he will. I think this is like a 1 or 2 day thing. Doesn't matter. Like Deebo, that doesn't affect Deebo. Deebo gets more usage if McLaurin isn't there. Deebo gets a hold of more reps and gets more comfortable with JD5 with Deebo not there. This is a good thing for Deebo. At the end of the day, we do want Deebo and McLaurin on the field at the same time. That is good for Deebo. But let's say McLaurin got traded. A lot of people want to know what is the outcome. Yeah, rest in peace, Ozzy. Ozzy passed away today. Ozzy Osbourne, crazy. But Deebo, crazy. He was here this long though. That guy partied harder than anybody I've ever seen. Like everyone's saying he went too young. Like I'm surprised he lasted this long. Ozzy was sniffing red ants off the sidewalk. A live bat was thrown onto a stage one time and he took a bite out of it. Like this guy was crazy on the stage. Ozzy was crazy, man. Surprised he made it this long, honestly. Deebo Samuel going to the moon no matter what. Deebo Samuel is going to be used in ways that he was used in San Francisco, but without the running back over usage, without being a running back at all. I don't think Kingsbury's going to line him in the backfield whatsoever. He's going to be a wide receiver. He's going to play wide out. He's going to play wide back, and he's going to have a remarkable season that's probably filled with 150 to 200 rushing yards, 1 to 3 rushing touchdowns, 900, maybe 1,000 receiving yards, 70 or so or 80 receptions are possible in this situation. He's in some of the best shape of his life. He looks phenomenal on the field. His body fat is down. His speed is up. And everybody's hatred seems to be at an all-time high. And I'm waiting for your call, Voice of Reason. You go ahead and dial in. I've got 3 super chats. Overcome, you still here? I'm sorry for waiting for you, my boy. Here's your super chat. I'm going to read it right here. Started the show quarterback the other night after seeing how Goff reacted to getting traded. I have no trust in the front office. Didn't Gurley get jettisoned also? I then offered away Kyren for Walker. Sharps accepted. I like Walker and Sharps, but I like Kyren more. Overcome. I would not have traded Kyren Williams. I'm a little confused at the other part of that message, but Overcome with a $20 hauler. Call into the phone line.
Alert. Super chat alert.
I wouldn't have traded Kyren Williams, but Sharps and Walker, that could prove to be awesome. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not disappointed in the trade, but I definitely would have kept Kyren Williams. At least he got some security, and it could turn into 2 running backs as well. Yo, Smitty, new member here, just got offered a trade 2 minutes ago. Superflex Dynasty. I give up Penix to get Bucky. I have Dak and Caleb and 325 first rounders. I'd much rather give up Caleb. Does he, by any chance, like Caleb more than Penix Jr.? Because if he does, you send Caleb right over. I would send Caleb in multiple seconds. Multiple. I'd give him 3 seconds in Caleb in order to keep Penix Jr. But I can't lie. I want Bucky, and I do that at the end of the day. But then I try and flip Caleb into a Penix Jr. or type of player. Bo Nix comes to mind. So just do the deal, get it done. Unless you can swap, unless you ask him like, do you want Caleb instead? He might want Caleb instead and take that in a heartbeat. But then you take Caleb and you flip him into Bo Nix using a first rounder if you need to. But appreciate you being here. Fantastic, situation. Go get Bucky, get that done, and then they'll take care of the rest after that. Brooks says 10-man super flex. Start 3 wide receivers, 3 flexes. Running backs equal Henry, Bucky, Brees, Kyren, Braylon, Allen, Najee. Wide receivers are Chase, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore. Great team. Players to move. Do I trade Swift for Jennings? No, I don't want Jennings, man. I don't want any part of that situation. And Swift, I would still sell high. I'd maybe sell DJ Moore and Swift for one player, bro. Try reaching for a Travis Hunter. Try reaching for like a RJ Harvey, who's doubted because he's 24 years old. And people are cranking out content that's making people second guess their draft selection. Same thing with Travis Hunter. They hear all the cornerback, he's going to get hurt, he's going to get tired. Teams are just going to run go routes on him. You never know what kind of vibe someone's now feeling in regards to the situation. So those are good players to go get. Kyren, go get Brees Hall. Trade DJ Moore and Swift to go get those doubted players before it's too late, Sir Brooks. But definitely not that interested in Juwan Jennings whatsoever. And I think Swift holds more value because he's potentially starting running back. But I do trade him. Trade him high while you can. Bruce, you're live.
Hey, Smitty. You know how we were saying that McLaurin hasn't been talked to in a month, and you were saying it could have been his agent?
Yeah.
What if when McLaurin gets to the facility for training camp or whatever, do you think if you're Adam Peters, you're like, hey, look, this is what we sent your agent?
No, I mean,
did you see this?
Look, Bruce, he could call him at any moment. You know what I mean? Adam Peters, they don't have to wait until they see each other at training camp. Like, they know what's going on. Yeah, and we don't even know if that's the case, but I'm just telling you, like, he could pick up the phone. I mean, Adam Peters could drive over to his house. He could pick up the phone. He could text him. I mean, they don't have to wait. It's not like there's no communication, like, avenues, It's not like we're living in the olden days where you got to get on a horseback to go talk to Terry McLaurin. But I think what it is that McLaurin's got, I think both of them are at fault. I think McLaurin's at fault because he believes he's different. Every player thinks they're living forever. They think they're a vampire. And he's probably going, I could be like 3 years, 4 years from, I could still be doing this. Everyone thinks that. You're not special. You're not special. You're not Derrick Henry. You're not Mike Evans. Those, you can't ever even expect that. But Scary Terry's got to get a grip. He's got to get a grip. He's 30 years old. And he probably thinks he should have $90 million guaranteed. It doesn't even matter what the contract is. Again, for anybody that's like, let's say he gets $35 million and people are like, that's crazy. They don't even know what they're saying. $35 million doesn't even mean anything until you know the details of the contract. This could be $35 million and $60 million guaranteed. If it's $60 million guaranteed, it doesn't matter what this number is. This number could be 40. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be 40, but if it's $60 million guaranteed, this number means nothing. What means something is this guaranteed money, which I believe is what he's struggling with. He probably out of respect wants to get 33, 34, but this doesn't matter. He like you have to pay him in the 30s, no doubt about it. You try and pay him like Godwin, then that this is on the Commanders. I believe there's somewhere in between, and the disconnect is that one party, the McLaurin side, believes that they're going to live forever. But we'll see what happens. I highly doubt Adam Peters is completely mishandling this. As bad as their Commanders social media team has handled it, it's not on Adam Peters, solely. He should clean that up. But Adam Peters is not, somebody that's going to mishandle this thing on the contract level. He is a very, very, very smart person. What else you got, Bruce?
With Kyren and Bucky, do you think they're going to have like the same type of season this year?
I mean, what do you mean? Bruce, you watch all my Kyren Williams and Bucky shows? What are you asking me?
I love them, but
what do you want me to say? That we haven't, said, do I think Bucky's going to have an amazing season? Yeah, Bruce. I think he's going to be a top 5 running back. I think Kyren's going to have 12 or 15. I mean, I just did a Kyren show. I think he has 14, 15 touchdowns on the ground. I think Kyren Williams rushes. Kyren's going to rush. And you guys shouldn't be afraid to call and ask a question. Bruce, you know better. You've been here. You've been here the whole offseason. Kyren's going to get probably 14 rushing touchdowns on the ground at least, maybe 15. Bucky's going to probably be a potential rushing title contender, and I think Bucky's going to score between 14 and 15 easily total touchdowns. Kyren might have more on the ground, but Bucky will have a couple receiving as well. Don't be shocked if Kyren pulls in a whole bunch of balls, but Kyren is going to be a 1,400 yard rusher and 14, 15 touchdowns on the ground. Maybe he pulls in 35, 40 balls for like 200 and something yards and 1 touchdown. That's kind of what Kyren does. But they are throwing, they do throw to him a lot in scrimmages and practice, and they seem to want to throw to him more each year. It doesn't, necessarily always play out, but he's gotten pretty good at catching the football. He's not a guy who drops the ball. The Kyren Williams, if he wanted to, and if the Rams wanted to, could be one of the better pass catchers in the National Football League. It just hasn't been the way that they use him, because it's like they don't dump the ball off a whole lot. And when they do, they'll be throwing it to Adams. They'll be throwing it to Puka. Puka's their short, their short passing game. And now you got Adams there, who's one of the best route runners in the league. So the opportunities just aren't always, present. It's not that he can't do it, but he certainly could pull in 35 footballs. Bucky could have a total of 1,900 total yards and 15 touchdowns. Of course I love him, Bruce. All right, Bruce, anything else? I think Bruce is just making up stuff to stay on the phone line.
I have one last thing about McLaurin.
Yeah.
And this could be just me being hypothetical. Do you think it would be better for them to sit down face-to-face or no?
I mean, I think they have probably. But, Bruce, I mean, when you're dealing with an agent, this is what happens. The agent's like, go to me, come to me. And that's why teams that's why Jerry's off his rocker, but that's why Jerry likes to deal with just the player. Jerry tries to circumvent the agent all the time. But it just depends on how Terry wants to handle it. If Terry said, talk to my agent, they're going to respect that, you know? So I don't know. We don't have the details on that. I think what you're thinking, Bruce, is you're thinking that what I say is gospel when I say that I think it might be the agent. And then you're just imagining this story where Terry's locked up and you know, Adam Peters runs to him and he's, Terry, we'll get you out and we'll sign you to a deal. And here's what we're offering you a better deal than he's telling you, Terry. Like, I don't know how it's going. I'm not saying that that's the way it is. I know that's how you're picturing it. But I'm just telling you, these are complicated situations where there's the agent to blame. Sometimes the player's mindset is in a place where he's ridiculously overvaluing himself. And then the team's being humble about it. They're kind of keeping things at bay. They're not trying to air the dirty laundry that, hey, Terry McLaurin's asking for $90 million guaranteed. You're like, we'll float that out there if we need to, but right now they're trying to do the right thing. Adam Peters knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing, and I think both sides need to come together, and they will. All right.
Okay.
All right, Bruce, call back if you got another one. Appreciate you. Bruce to the moon. All right. B-Man, appreciate you. Half PPR auction, running back heavy environment, pivot to wide receiver. No. B-Man, always take the value where it is, no matter where it is. But I think the values are going to be, first of all, you're just trying to bid on the players you want, but not call them out so that people spend their money in an auction. You never want to call it the players you want, ever. Because then they're going to go for more dollars if you call them out early. The later a player gets called out, there's a high likelihood they go for cheaper than if you call them out early. So you're just waiting. But the players that I'm consuming in an auction, I mean, I could go two-headed monster. This is a year I'd be very, very tempted to do, and I'll do a video on this, but to go Gibbs and Bijan, spend all my money on that, and then just get these, you know, dollar guys, try and get the best quarterback I get. If I can get a Nick somehow, fantastic. If I can get a Nick Buka with this, fantastic. If I'm getting Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper at the end of the draft to go with every wide receiver I could possibly snag, you get Jaden Blue on the cheap. You get, you get a quarterback very cheap. But this is a year where in auction, I will very much make a video on the two-headed monster, which honestly I think I could say pretty confidently that if I wasn't the creator of the two-headed monster back in 2002, 2003, there were very few people talking about that. And the three-headed monster you can do just if there's a value quarterback. But we've been talking that up since 2002, bro. Since 2002, and people thought it was insane back when your boy would smash that Tomlinson and Marshall Faulk like type player, get two of them. Tomlinson was the GOAT back then. You had Tomlinson, you're pretty much guaranteed to be a top 2 or 3 team. This is a year where Gibbs and Bijan are going to have kind of that cornerstone Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk, Priest Holmes type value. And so the two-headed monster needs to be brought back. As far as other moves, it's just about getting the value. Travis Hunter, Harvey, Hampton, Hendy, Kyren, Breece Hall, Bucky is even good value, but you have to let those guys go. But don't pivot to any certain position. You're always going to want to just grab, especially in auction, you're going to try and grab the values unless you're going two-headed monster. But B-Man, there's never a set-in-stone approach. You know, just identify those cheap, doubted guys. Kyren fits the bill for the ideal auction player because he's doubted by so many. Rhino says 200 in here. Take a lap. Like and sub. 284 total in here from all platforms and only 62 thumbs up on YouTube. Please punch that thumb up button on YouTube. Appreciate you. Thank you, Rhino. Appreciate the super chat. All right, phone lines are open. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Agents know what they're doing. Not always. Not always, Bryant. Not always. Sometimes they're all about the money, my boy. HM behind Barkley, Gibbs, and Bijan. HN top 3 to 4, sure. HN behind Barkley, Gibbs, and Bijan. Definitely behind Bijan and Gibbs, but would I draft Achane over Barkley? No, but would I want him more than Barkley cost of entry? Yes. So it's kind of like a trick question. I'm going to take a wide receiver. I'll take Lamb instead of Barkley. I'll take Genty instead of Barkley, and then I'll take Achane as well if I can. But would I draft Achane over Barkley? I don't think you need to. I would trade down to do that. You're live, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Nick from Baltimore. How you doing, man?
What's up, Nick?
Hey, I just had a huge offer come in. I was hoping you could help me break
All
this
right,
down.
as quick as you can.
It's got like R.J. Harvey. It's got R.J. Harvey and Travis Hunter and Mecca Buka and Trevion Henderson in the trade.
Okay, just hit me the trade real quick.
Yeah, so I've got I'm sending Dak Prescott, David Njoku, R.J. Harvey. Or no, I'm receiving. Sorry, Luther Burden.
Hold on. You're confusing me now. You're sending Dak or you're receiving Dak?
Sorry, receiving.
Okay, Dak, Harvey.
Njoku, Burden, Hunter, and a first.
Burden, Travis Hunter.
Yep.
And a first, okay?
And then I'm sending Stroud, Bowers, and Buka Henderson.
Stroud, Bauer.
Somebody.
Is premium?
Let me double check.
Yeah, you got to know that, bro.
I know. I'm in a lot of leagues.
Tight end premium makes Bowers a first, like a maybe number 1 overall in some people's minds. Ibuka, you said Stroud, Bowers, Ibuka, and Henderson. Okay.
Yeah, it's tight end premium. Yeah.
Okay, so tight end premium, that makes Bowers probably the most valuable player on the board. Period. So that's a totally different ball game with Bowers in the tight end premium. Is it a full point?
I don't think so. I think it's just a half.
Can you look? You need to have this.
Yeah, it's actually.
You got to have these details.
Best ball and sleeper, so I have to look on my mobile, and that's what I'm
okay.
From.
Yeah, you got to know that because that'll determine. I'll talk it through while you're looking. I mean, at the end of the day, like I like Dak way more than I like Stroud. I like Harvey and Hendy. You could almost knock Harvey and Hendy out of this just to keep it simplified. Hunter I like over Ibuka, but that's also pretty close. First rounder, Dak, Stroud, Bowers. I mean, this is a tough call. It's
a 6-point passing touchdown and it's half tight end premium.
Okay, so it's only half. Where's that first rounder going to be?
It's probably going to be mid to late.
Mid to late. Stroud, Ibuka, Hendy, Dak, and Njoku, Burden, Hunter first. I'm going to say I'd rather have this side, this Bauer side, and then just trying to figure out how to. This is what I've been telling people a lot lately, and I think the advice is this best advice you could get. It's at the end of the day when things get really close, back out of the trade idea and look at the problematic upgrade piece. The part that if this is what I'm doing, I'm looking at Dak and I'm saying I want to get rid of Stroud. So how can I just attack this with leaving all of this alone? So I'm going to say no go. And if you're able to accomplish upgrading Stroud through other means without touching the Bauer side, all that trade stuff, and you're upgrading Stroud into Bo Nix by using, draft picks, whatever, then all of a sudden, bro, you just crush that trade. If you were to put the Bo Nix with Bauer's side against any one of those two teams, the Knicks side would crush it. So focus on just this piece, bro. No, don't get rid of.
Okay.
Don't get rid of Bowers.
Yeah, so just focus on getting rid of Stroud.
Yep.
That's the main thing.
Yep, and I'm not saying Stroud's like garbage, but I'm wanting Bo Nix. I'm wanting Mahomes. I'm wanting a quarterback like that. I don't mind doing Stroud for Dak. Make sure you get Milton if he's out there. He might be on waivers. And then you're covered. But I certainly wouldn't give up as much to trade Stroud into Dak as I would with Bo Nix or Mahomes. But Bo Nix and Mahomes are cheap. Justin Fields, you could probably get Justin Fields for Stroud very, very easily.
Yeah. I've been trying to get Milton, and thanks for that tip. That's going to be huge. I can see that guy lighting up the league.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I tried to send Daniel Jones for Milton, and do you think that would be a good exchange? Or
I would take Milton. I could care less about Daniel Jones. He can kick rocks.
Okay.
All right, bro.
Yeah. All right,
later,
cool.
Later. Not that Daniel Jones can't survive for 6 months or something in the league, as a starter again. Phone line's open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Scott, no one cares about your Deebo Samuel take. Nobody. Your Deebo Samuel hatred is not rooted in any sort of reason or logic. So you're literally. I wish you would learn to adjust and adapt, Scott, but you never will. You have zero evidence that Deebo Samuel is not going to explode this year. I have lots of evidence as to why he will. DTX, appreciate you. If you absolutely had to pick one between Hendy and Harvey, who would you go with? Long-term, Hendy. Honestly, right now, I'm leaning Hendy maybe in both. But if it's like non-PPR, then Harvey. But if it's like half PPR or PPR, I'm leaning Hendy by a hair right now. Just right now, I feel like his world. I'm not saying I'm worried about JK on a long-term basis whatsoever, but if JK and Harvey do split, there is a chance that Hendy maybe has a lot easier time getting enough work no matter what's going on with the divide. Whereas Harvey, he definitely needs to get the role, and that could happen, and it should happen at any point during the year. And I'm almost more excited about him getting unleashed in week 4 or 5 and then having no rookie wall. So I love Harvey, and I don't mind JK. I think his situation's actually crafty and good and makes Harvey's value lower. So I love all of it. I wouldn't hit the undo button and send JK away, because I think it gets me into J.K. Dobbins about a round and a half cheaper, and I'm not worried about J.K. But I'm going to say Hendy right now. Dynasty loaded at wide receiver. Trade my Adunze and a late 26 first for Hampton. Yes. Give me Hampton all day. Thank you for the $10 hauler.
Tumas.
My boy, appreciate you with that one. And then this one, how in the hell do you sell Kyren Williams? I think that's referring to the Overcome super chat. Overcome, dial in if you want, bro, and we can work through your trade that you did. But I think that's what you're referencing. That's referencing. There is that trade that Overcome did. Thanks for the trade advice. You bet. Appreciate you, bro. I guess you're Nick from Baltimore. I wouldn't have known that, to be honest. I keep forgetting who's who. So Nick, appreciate you for the super chat.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Oh, Sir Brooks, you're saying no. I'm actually asking, how am I supposed to do it? Trade for Kyren or trade? Let's see. How in the hell do I sell Kyren? Why would you sell Kyren Williams? Don't sell Kyren Williams. I'm trying and failing because people doubt him. You try and sell Kyren Williams right now, my boy. You're going to make a grave mistake because his value, people doubt him. You can't get what he's worth, and so you just hold it and ride the train out, bro. You try and sell a man that people doubt all the time, you're going to take a bath on it, and he's going to explode, and you're going to get double kicked in the sack. Imagine doubting Kyren, selling him low and getting kicked in the sack, then having him rush for 14 touchdowns while you traded him away. That's the kind of move that makes you, retire from fantasy the next year and go, I'm done with this. I'm so sick of fantasy. It's all bad luck. I'm so sick. I'm done. This is my last year. Smitty, I know. I'm watching the channel right now, and I just want to tell you this is my last year. I can't deal with this crap anymore. This uncontrollable. And it's like, you just traded away Kyren. You know what I mean, Sir Brooks? Is what it is. If you could sell him for, I don't know. Give me a scenario. You go get like a Hampton and start over. Like, I'm fine with all that. go get a Rashee Rice. I mean, you want to sell him, go get Rashee Rice. I'm not saying I want to sell Kyren, but you sell Kyren for Rice, I'm fine with it. So, Brooks, have you tried that? Especially trade across position, you'll get people that need a running back. They'll buy a running back a little bit differently than you will in another setting, my boy. But I'm not telling you to trade Kyren, but I've had, we talked about that Rice and Kyren swap. I'm fine with that. Rice looks phenomenal right now. Diggs. All right. We'll be back in a little bit. Let me just real quickly see if there's any sort of news out there that needs to be talked about. Look, first of all, we'll talk about it probably 8 p.m., but Rashee Rice is looking fantastic on the field today. Word is that Rashee Rice is the winner of day one, and him and Mahomes connected like crazy all day long. Rice is all over in those intermediate routes, exactly what you would expect, what he did last year when he played roughly 3 games and Rice was looking and pacing to be a top 5 wide receiver. That's exactly what happened today. It was Rice all around the field, especially the middle, these short intermediate passes, kind of like replacing Travis Kelce in a way is what Rice is doing. It's going to be crazy. What do I throw onto Kyren to try and get Hampton? Second rounders. I mean, you could a first rounder is understandable if it's a really late pick, but you're running the risk of really regretting this year, bro. I would say try to not give a first rounder. I understand the reset of Kyren to Hampton mileage wise if you're rebuilding, but I'd try and throw as many second rounders as I could onto it, another player and some second rounders. Throwing a first rounder on it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it certainly would be overpaying. And if you have a misstep at all in your rebuild, you might end up just not having a team that can even win, and you 2-3 years from now, after getting 3rd and 4th place year after year or worse, you end up trying to trade Hampton away before his time ticks away. Preseason in 9 days. The wait is almost over. That's right. So get ready. The streams are going to get cramped in a good way. Packed. We got 300 people roughly in the building right now. Appreciate all of you. Hit that thumb up button on the way out the door. We're not necessarily leaving yet. I'm still waiting for... look, Voice of Reason decided not to call in. He calls in during the monologue when he knows I don't answer, and then he never calls back again to trash talk Deebo Samuel because he doesn't have a take. Anybody that hates Deebo Samuel is either a Niner fan or they're repeating what they heard. They're repeating Roger. Deebo to the moon, especially at the cost of entry. It's a ridiculous conversation to have, to be honest with you. And we'll be back. Appreciate you all. Don't forget to get on over to... Oops. Don't forget to get on over to the Patreon. I'll drop the link right now if you guys want a 365, 24/7 chat. This entire live stream and convo can be continued right on over on the Patreon. There's the link right there. In fact, I'm going to go to the Patreon right now and type yo any post show topics. Boom. Hit me with it. I'm on Patreon right now. That link is dropped in the live chat. It's in the description of every video if you're looking for it later. Let's say 2 days from now, you're like, damn, I really want to know where that link is to the Patreon. You just go to any of my videos. And you'll find the link to the Patreon. I'm live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is coming up here soon. So the 8 p.m. Eastern show is about 2 hours away. So I'll see you guys in 2 hours or sooner. And then we go live at midnight Eastern every single night practically. So 2 more live streams to go bare minimum. 8 p.m. Eastern, midnight Eastern. And maybe somewhere in between or before, depending on the breaking news. See you all in 2 hours. Thank you to my super chatters. Thank you, Chili. Thank you, Nick from Baltimore. Thank you, Brooks. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Rhino. Thank you, B-Men. Thank you, DTX. Thank you, Brooks. Thank you, 22, Gruff. And Overcome with the $20 hauler. Did Overcome ever come back? I feel bad after Overcome dropped at it. I didn't like Overcome's trade that much. Where's Overcome at? Overcome, you there? We'll see you guys all in 2 hours. Overcome, call in at the beginning of the show at 8 p.m., bro. See you all on Patreon. Thank you, Travis, and the moderators. You guys rock. Deuce.